From Edmond, Oklahoma, this is Midwest Sports Saturday. I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad to get to be with you again today. We are on campus at the University of Central Oklahoma Chad Richardson Sports Complex, and it's a beautiful field behind us. Now, we're not on the field right now. We'll be there a little bit later on today. However, right now, I want to get straight to my first guest, who is Tyler Fenwick, the head football coach at the University of Missouri Western, or Missouri Western State University.
Correct.
Let me get that right.
That's right.
MWSU. I'm at the University of Central Oklahoma. You get these flipped around,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure I said it right. Missouri Western State University. And by the way, a shout out to Paul Smith if you're watching right now. Paul, hope you're having a great day where you are. It's a beautiful day here in Central Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it's nice. Have you had some heat for your game so far?
You know, we've had great weather for our games. All of them have been really good so far. So it looks like it's going to be another good one today.
And it is. Well, I have to tell you, I think I've sweat through every single
Yeah.
one of the previous 3 weekends, so I'm glad that it's a little bit cooler here today. Coach, first off, it's nice to get to see you again.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. The last time we visited was, it's definitely more than a year ago, and you were wearing different colors at that point.
Right, yeah.
Former coach at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, a fantastic job in the stop right there. But now a new opportunity, and I know we visited once for this channel before, but that was after you had just been announced as the head football coach there. How have things gone since then? 1-1 on the season right now coming in, but talk about your journey.
Yeah, you know, it feels like it was just the other day that I got that job and this job and you know, it's just that things happen so fast, and all of a sudden the summer went so fast, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, fall camp, and then game one, and you know, and now here we are, game 3 already. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been really cool, just you know, to be able to come back to St. Joe, place that I'd been before, and you know, seeing the changes, seeing the things that are, you know, the people of St. Joe, the community people, and reconnecting with them, and getting my family. You know, situated and back into school and sports and, you know, all that fun stuff and moving into a house and all that. But, I mean, it's been an easy transition and, you know, excited about this football team and kind of where we're at and really just finding out about this football team. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, as a new staff and taking over a roster that you didn't recruit and that you just started to build relationships with and find out about. You know, every day brings a new challenge, or every day brings a new, you know, something new that you find out about. How do we react, and how do we handle certain situations, and how do we practice, and you know, that all those sorts of things I think is, you know, the fun part of the job, but it's also it's a stressful part of the job, but it's also, it keeps us on our toes, that's for sure.
Most definitely. I think I should have borrowed something from your playbook and brought some shades today. So
Yeah.
it's a very, very bright day today here in Edmond with Coach Tyler Fenwick. Now, in talking about football then and the season as it has been, and of course your journey to get here, but now the regular season started, and with Division II, we've taken the show on the road now 3 weeks prior, but of course NAI got that week 0 in there.
Right.
So Division II has to play its 11 games within an 11-week schedule. You guys have 2 games under your belt, but you're coming off a win last week, 1-1 on the season. Talk about the win.
Yeah, the win was, I mean, we needed to get that win, and we needed to play well, and there was a lot of things that you find out in game 1 with a new team that, you know, that we needed to fix, or that we needed to present to our players as far as why we lost that game. And then go into game 2 saying, okay, you know, let's focus on fixing ourselves, and then go put it into play against Lincoln. And I thought our kids responded really well, and they were very intuitive. They were very much, you know, wanting to get better and hungry for information, and they worked really hard throughout the week and prepared themselves so that, you know, we played a really almost flawless game against Lincoln, which, you know, Lincoln has struggled, and everybody knew that going into it, but it was really more when you look at just the fundamentals that we executed, and being able to take care of the football and not be careless and not have foolish penalties. Those are things that we were looking for that are things that control ourselves, that we were able to do. And so hopefully, you know, something like that and that improvement can, you know, carry on into, you know, the weeks ahead.
68-14, the final score against Lincoln last week. And one of the things that has stood out to me in seeing teams that you've coached, be able to produce points and put points on the board. I think it looks like, at least in the early going, one of the hallmarks of this team is its defense and how well it plays defense. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, but obviously, I brought Coach Johnson with me from Southeastern, and so he and I have been together for a long time, and he's a very bright coach. He's a very energetic coach, and he understands how to get his players to play within our scheme, and so it's been throughout spring ball and throughout camp, it's a learning process because we've changed the scheme from what they were doing in the past, and so we've kind of had to move some positions around and kind of make it fit what we want to do and what we want to be. So yeah, I mean, defensively, he's got them flying around. They're playing physical. I think our defensive line is probably the strength of our defense. There's a lot of experience there. I think the cool thing about just the makeup of our defense is we have a lot of inexperienced secondary guys that are getting their first opportunity of really playing true, big minutes. And I think we felt that in game one, but they're growing so fast with Coach Moore in the secondary, who we stole from Emporia State after, going against them the last couple of years. And so it's the staff has done a good job. They're buying into what, we want to do, and they're just soaking it up, and they're playing together.
I mentioned the defense and talk about it being a hallmark. When you put 68 points on the board in a game, you have to say something about the offense as well. But let's start with the offensive line. You mentioned the defensive line, and that's been getting some recognition. But the offensive line doing a good job. Then start there, and then tell about how you put points on the board.
Yeah, well, the offensive line has got probably the most experience out of anybody. We've got 4 senior offensive linemen that have actually been coached by Patrick St. Louis, who previous was the offensive line coach, who now is the running back coach, because I brought Todd Throckmorton with us from Southeastern as well. So there's been some carryover, which, it just happened perfectly. And Patrick St. Louis is a guy that Coach Throck and I both coached back in 2007 at Missouri Western. So it's kind of this tied in family staff, I guess. But and so they've been trained well, and they're seniors, and there's no substitute for experience. Those guys have a lot of game experience, and they've played together, and we haven't given up a sack yet. We're running the ball really well. They're playing together because they've been together for so long. So that really helps. As far as the points, I think our quarterback is playing well. To contribute to those points that we've been putting up. Week one we had a punt or a field goal block that we took back for a touchdown, and then last week we blocked 2 punts that set up short fields. We had an interception for a touchdown. So those help too. It's not just all the offense that's scoring 68 points, but it definitely contributes. And I think as we continue to play games, our offense becomes more of a, they gel together. The receivers and quarterback get on the same page, and so it's just it's a process that we're going through.
Jolie, if you don't mind, can we get that fan on that, because it is getting a little bit warmer. We're trying to take good care of our equipment too, because in the heat this year, we've seen more equipment issues than just about anything else.
You better take care of your equipment.
That's exactly right. With Coach Tyler Fenwick here on Midwest Sports Saturday, and Coach, just another couple of questions too, because I know it's game day, and I'm very thankful for your time today. I appreciate you giving it to us here.
Of course, anything for you.
Well, that means a lot. That really does mean a lot. And we're going to keep that audio and the video footage there too.
Sure.
We'll keep that
clip.
It.
Yep.
Coach, you mentioned, you referred to it, talking about the field goal attempt blocked, 2 punts blocked as well. That's the third part of that game, and so you have special teams going well. When you see that and you're able to put all these things together, you were talking about the journey and talking about the little things along the way. How does that make you feel then, seeing, okay, from week 1 to week 2, there has been improvement, and just to be able to keep that going?
Yeah, well, it is 3 phases, and special teams has been a big part of it. Colin McQuillan runs most of our special teams, and he's done a great job. He's a Missouri Western alum, also coached with us back in the day. But that's what you're looking for. From week to week, especially in your first year, where you're always constantly finding out. I don't know how we're going to match up against UCO. I've seen them on film, but until you really see it and see how we match up, I really don't know. So really right now in this first year, you're just trying to improve the culture of the program. You're trying to make it yours. You're trying to to, when there are mistakes, we've got to fix the mistakes. And so, that's each week you're just trying to get, a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And so that by the end of the year and you go into that second season, everybody understands what the expectation is when the actual bullets are flying. It's easy to talk about it in fall camp and say we want to be this and we want to do that, but until you actually do it and work it and see it and feel it, that's when it becomes real, and that's when you really set the standard and set the foundation of where you're headed.
One more thing, Coach, is we're here on Midwest Sports Saturday, which, by the way, is presented by a couple of great sponsors, and I know you know the families as well. Heartbeat Realty from Durant, Oklahoma, and Theorem, which is also from Durant, Oklahoma. Design, build, create. They do architecture work, construction work as well. Lots of great folks there, and we appreciate them helping to bring this broadcast here today, Heartbeat Realty and Theorem. Coach, you said you didn't know exactly how it was going to match up today, so I won't ask for any state secrets or anything like that, especially on game day.
Good, I don't have any.
You don't have? That's okay, then it works out well. I'll ask you this, though. We're at a great facility here, Chad Richardson Sports Complex, which the last time we were here with Midwest Sports Saturday was the weekend that they announced the new name. It'd been Wantland Stadium for a while. Of course, Chad Richardson, who was a great donor to the program, and the facilities are fantastic. And that's all the way across the campus, too. It's just a great place to come and participate, I'm sure, and watch a ball game as well, no matter what sport it is. But you all have some great facilities up there as well. I mean, you had an opportunity to come to really a fantastic position. Talk about what you see every day.
Yeah, we're very fortunate, actually since I left, I was there in the past when they started building all the new facilities and the indoor complex, practice complex, and the weight room, and we've just upgraded our locker room. It's state of the art, brand new lockers and all the bling that goes along with it, with the lighting and branding and all that stuff, and then just the office space and the meeting space and the team room. I mean, there's just we pretty much have every piece that we need as far as that goes. We're really we're starting to upgrade our weight room as far as nutrition goes, and getting into making sure that our kids are fueled the right way, and so that they're healthy and that they're gaining the right weight the right way, and all that stuff. And so so there's just a ton of resources that Missouri Western, our administration, our supporters, our community people, I mean, they're very invested in Missouri Western athletics, and they want to see success, and the way you get to success is you got to make sure that you have those resources to compete with a place like UCO that's got a beautiful stadium. This is the first time I've been here. It's really nice. I'm really impressed. They've done a great job, and I think every week when we go on the road, we're going to see facilities that are like our facilities, that are the big nice press boxes and the indoor facilities, and so you got to compete with that if you want to compete in the MIAA conference.
That is a big deal. I was mentioning to Jolie a little bit earlier, the first time that I was here was in 1990, and the facilities look radically different 33 years down the line. Yeah. So the improvements all around the board, but you have to have that, and then competing in a tough conference like the MIAA, and you really don't get a week off, and you don't get a week off this weekend either. No,
not at all. You don't get a week off. I mean, there's a lot of parity. There's obviously some of the top echelon schools that that are consistently in the playoffs, and that's where we're trying to get to. And there was a day when I was here before that we were pushing postseason games and playoff games, and so we got to get back to doing that consistently, and being in that conversation every year of that we can be there, and that's going to take this is the process of building the foundation and getting our kids to understand what the expectations are, and but I mean, every week in and week out, I mean, you're up for a challenge and you better be ready to go.
All right, well, Coach Tyler Fenwick and the Griffins looking to try to pick up their first win in MIAA play. Now you got your first win as the head coach in this stint last week. Again, a 68-14 victory over Lincoln on the road here at Central Oklahoma, and going to take on the Broncos in what should be a very competitive matchup.
Well, as I say, you're only as good as your last win. So,
well, at least the last one was a good win.
That's right. So we got to follow it up.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And it means a lot. Friend of the channel and just friend of the program. the Missouri Western head coach, Tyler Fenwick. So glad to get to have him with us today, and I'll let him go back and be coach today. And as always, I appreciate that, especially, you know, football coaches on game day. You don't get to visit with them as often as maybe you'd like to, but it's a privilege to get to do that today. We're here on campus at Central Oklahoma, here in downtown Edmond, and it's not only a beautiful campus, it's a beautiful city. It really is. Driving in, just getting to see the things that are new, but also the historical things that are a part of this city and make it what it is. We're right on Route 66, and this is just a fantastic place. But again, facility behind me, we'll see a little bit more about that later on. Again, I want to thank Heartbeat Realty and Theorem as being sponsors for today's broadcast and letting us be here in Edmond on the campus at University of Central Oklahoma. You know, we talked some Division II stuff here. Let's go through the rest of the MIAA really quickly. Northwest Missouri State coming off a loss last week. It was a big time win for Emporia State. First victory in nearly 30 years against Northwest Missouri State. And so the Bearcats 1-1 on the road at Hayes today, taking on Fort Hays State, also 1-1. Emporia State 2-0 on the year, got the big win in the MIAA. Only MIAA contest so far. So 2-0 for Emporia State, 1-0 in conference play, taking on Northeastern State in Tahlequah today, and not too far down the road from here. 0-2 in conference play and overall. Washburn 0-2 at Lincoln, 0-2 today. That is going on in Jefferson City. Couple more big games on hand in the MIAA. Missouri Southern 1-1 on the year now. Snapped a 6-game losing streak with a 30-23 victory over Washburn last week. And Nebraska Kearney got its first win also last week, defeating Northeastern State 31-17. So each of them trying to move to 2-1 on the season. And then the one that you have to say, other than where we are right now, which obviously this is a big contest, but the undefeateds taking on each other and some perennial powers in the league. Pittsburgh State 2-0 in conference, 2-0 overall on the road at Warrensburg today, taking on the Mules from the University of Central Missouri, 2-0 also. Pitt State 41-11-2 all time in this series, having won the last two contests competed between the two, 21-10 victors in 2022. Pittsburgh State, you know, we've talked about them a number of times on the program and hope to get to do a program from that campus sometime. The winningest program in Division II football history, 605 wins, fourth all-time in winning percentage as well. 40-14 victors over Fort Hays State last week, and Central Missouri at home defeated this Broncos team last week, 41-17. That was in Warrensburg. And so it's Missouri Western on the road taking on Central Oklahoma. Now we have a lot more because we've been covering a lot of NAI football here on the channel as well, and we talked about a few of those games coming up today. We looked through the list here. Concordia hosting Judson today. It's a first time meeting for those two programs. St. Francis of Illinois, the Fighting Saints, trying to stay undefeated on the season. They travel to Lawrence Tech today, second ever meeting between those two programs. A big one today in Iowa as Baker 2-0 is taking on Grandview, also 2-0 on the year. Grandview, after Baker won the first three in this series, Grandview has won the last four, and the series stands at 4-3 all time there. Moving on down into Division I and NAIA play, Florida Memorial at Grambling State today. And for Midwest Sports Saturday, this is one of our picks. If there is a team that has a chance against a D1 or a D2 program, we feel like it's the Lions from Florida Memorial today on the road at Grambling. Concordia at Dordt today, big GPAC game as the Bulldogs travel to Dordt for this one. Dort's won 5 straight and the series and has scored 49 in each game this year for the wins. Benedictine trying to get its second win of the season. That'll be in action today. Peru State moving along. Tough place to try to pick up that first win of the season against Benedictine. Also, Bethel fell last week, bit of an upset as Bethel is on the road at Avila. This series tied at 3 apiece. Bluefield at Bethel. The Wildcats from Tennessee hosting Bluefield today. Both teams 2-0 on the year. Bethel is 4-0 all time in this series. Morningside at home today to take on Mount Marty as the Mustangs are 2-0 on the year. Mount Marty 2-1 on the year. A win today for Morningside would be the 70th consecutive regular season win for this program. So a big game there. Evangel at St. Mary. And Evangel, we mentioned that's the first meeting ever between these two schools in football. It is likely we will be on campus next Saturday night. That is the goal. We'll talk more about that over the course of the week. Moving on through right here, Evangel again 3-0 on the year, and it's a defense that's been holding opponents to 4.7 points per game this season. Also, another NAI school on the road, this at D2. Kaiser fell at Valdosta State last year. They're on the road again at Valdosta State this year. We'll see how it turns out. The Seahawks, defending national runners-up, trying to get a win against a Division II program here. Kaiser 1-1 on the year. The Blazers from Valdosta State 2-0 on the year. More selected games as we go through. Friends at Kansas Wesleyan. Big game in Salina taking place this afternoon. The Falcons are 3-0 under Coach Terry Harrison. Kansas Wesleyan 1-2. This is the 70th meeting. There's that number again, 70. This is the 70th meeting between the two schools. Kansas Wesleyan owns a 40-28-1 excuse me, all-time record there. The Coyotes have won 8 straight in this one. Falcons trying to put an end to that streak there. Indiana Wesleyan and St. Xavier, a big meeting. It's the first time these two programs have met, as this one takes place in St. Xavier, who lost last week 28-21 to Marion. Indiana Wesleyan with a big win over a Division I program in Valparaiso last week, holding them off. And finally, MSU Northern on the road at Arizona Christian. It's a big game today for the Firestorm because it is their first ever game in the Frontier Conference. They take on the Lights from MSU Northern, and MSU Northern won over Arizona Christian 20-14. That was back in 2019, first time those two programs met then. This is the second meeting ever. So that's a rundown today from Edmond, Chad Richardson Stadium. We had hoped to get to visit with some folks from UCO as well. It's not going to happen today, but we will also be able to bring you reports from the sidelines as well, and a post-game wrap-up following this game. Missouri Western taking on Central Oklahoma. I want to say thanks to the fine folks at Heartbeat Realty, Jordan and Angie Sullivan and their entire staff. They do a great job. If you need real estate help, they are there for you in the Bryan County area and beyond throughout all of the Texoma area. And the folks at Theorem with Shane and Lindsay Knight and all the people that work with them. Of course, design, build, create. You need architecture help, you need construction help, you need work on that house, call the folks at Theorem. And we're going to be speaking about them throughout the day today as well. Again, thanks to Heartbeat Realty and Theorem, and also thanks, well, I pointed to an empty chair, but he was there just a moment ago, to Coach Tyler Fenwick, the head football coach from Missouri Western State University. Thanks for watching this today. Please continue to watch the channel, and also please subscribe to the channel because it really does help. For Jolie McWilliams, who's been my technical assistant throughout this season so far, and making sure that the camera does not melt down mid-broadcast and more. She's done a lot more than that. I'm Joey McWilliams. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Have a great Saturday.